Yingjie, are you mom hearing this? I told you to stop. Qingzhe's harsh voice exploded in the corridor of the teaching building, attracting the students around him. I stopped, my brain buzzed and my hands were still holding the milk tea I bought, and I didn't even have time to insert the straw. It's not that I don't want to run, but that this guy brought 3 or 4 younger brothers to block the road ahead and behind me. As an ordinary college student, how dare I bet on the campus bully? The low-headed dress, Ayoko, is still not lost, and she is called a great fortune after losing her life. Brother Qingzhe, I really didn't mess with you. I smiled hard, and my voice was almost shaking into a Douyin special effect. Didn't mess with me? Qingzhe sneered, walked over, and slapped my milk tea. He squeezed my noodles and burst it with milk tea juice. The little brothers behind him burst into laughter, as if they were watching a monkey. Did you see me fucking in the cafeteria yesterday? Your eyes are so harsh, are you looking for a beating? I ran over the bush with a slumber in my heart. Yesterday I just looked at him more, and the goods were revenge until today. I gritted my teeth and said in a low voice, Brother, I really don't mean that. Why don't I ask you for a drink? Is it a crime? Drink it, you're paralyzed. Qingzhe raised his hand and slapped me, making my ears buzzing, and my face hurt sharply. I stumbled back and hit the handrail of the stairs, which made me gasp in pain. The students around me gathered more and more, but no one dared to silly. They all played with their mobile phones with their heads down and had no idea what they had to wear. Qingzhe saw that I didn't keep my hand, and my breath became even worse. He raised his foot and kicked me in the stomach. Room away, don't be furious in front of me. I subconsciously wanted to hide, but when my feet slipped, my whole body lost its center of gravity and flipped directly from the handrail of the stairs. I heard the sound of my ears, and there was only one thought in my brain, it's over, I really want to stop this. Bang! The back of my brain slap hit the ground hard, and the pain instantly rolled over my body. My eyes went dark and my mind was directly broken. Ding! The death circle system is activated, and the host's first death was detected. The reason is, falling off the stairs. The method of death is rated. The official complained that the Easter egg was opened. Wait. Am I dead? How can I still hear the sound? I suddenly opened my eyes and realized that I was standing at the entrance of the stairs. My body was clean, and my clothes that were just soaked by milk tea returned to their original state. The head doesn't hurt, and the body doesn't hurt, as if I just felt a death and was purely a dream. What the hell? I lowered my head and looked at my hand, and my strength seemed to be much bigger than before. Ding! The host successfully resurrected for the first time. The random ability reward is superpower. Current power value, 5 times that of ordinary humans. The next time death will unlock new abilities. Come on, let's give it to you, chicken. The sound of the savage mechanical sound came up again. I was so angry that I was toothless, but I was ecstatic in my heart. Superpower? What kind of immortality is this? I looked up and saw that Qingzhe was still standing on the stairs, pointing at me, and sneering in my mouth. Yi, didn't you fall to death? I'm so hard, get up and continue to be beaten. The classmates around the world were also raising their heads, their eyes full of the hot gossip. I sneered in my heart, I was afraid of you just now. Now I have superpower, so it may not be necessary for who to beat him up. Qingzhe, aren't you very crazy? Come on, let's try again. I clapped my hands, walked slowly up the stairs, and had a slight smile on my face. Qingzhe was stunned and then sneered, what big-tailed wolf is wearing? I'm looking for death. He waved his hand and 2 little brothers on his side came over, trying to grab my arm from the left and right. I felt a thrust in my heart and tried to swing hard. As a result, the 2 little brothers were thrown directly by me and hit the wall, screaming in pain. All classmates Zhou Xiang were stunned. Some people couldn't help but exclaim, Yingqiao, is Yingjie taking medicine? Qingzhe's face changed, but he still said stubbornly, there are 2 tricks, right? I will teach you how to be a human being. He clenched his fists and smashed it on my face. I didn't hide, and even took the initiative to meet him, raising my hand and clenched his fist easily. Yingjie was stunned and tried hard to pull his hand back, but he found that my hand was like an iron bar and could not open at all. That's all that strong? And the campus king, go home and have a drink. I sneered, and my hand was a little hard. Yingjie twisted his face in pain, and his legs knelt directly in front of me. Ah! Let go! I'll kill you. Yingjie was still stubborn, but I couldn't treat him. He raised his feet and kicked him gently. The goods were rolled down the stairs, falling to the blue face, and lying there, humming and unable to come. The classmates around the world were so fucked up. They kept taking pictures of their mobile phones, and some people shouted, "Yingjie is awesome. Yingjie is so worried." I clapped my hands and felt the blood in my body was boiling. This feeling of facial pussy is so cool. But I still couldn't help but complain. Is that death circle system just now true? It can become stronger by dying once, and this external silence is too distant. Just as he was proud, a familiar figure suddenly appeared beside him. Yingjie smiled and slapped me on the shoulder. Okay, Yingjie, I just fell down and didn't die. Now he has become a strong man? Have you secretly practiced a gold-cranked iron shirt? I rolled my eyes. Bogue, what a golden bell cover. I'm a talented person, okay? Yingjie smiled and said in a low voice, don't install it, I can see it just now. When you fell down, your brain was almost blooming. In the blink of an eye, you stood up, and you still had such strength. You definitely have a problem. I'm honestly explaining whether it was transformed by aliens. My heart skipped a beat. My eyes were so vicious, but I couldn't say anything wrong with the system. I just talk nonsense. I just fell down and suddenly started to vent my heart. I was so powerful that I was afraid of it. Yongsaming didn't believe it, but she didn't ask, but just continued to smile. Okay, anyway, if you beat Yingjie like this, I guess the whole school will be cursed tomorrow. But be careful, this guy is not a good guy, and maybe he will find someone to report you. Report? Come and I beat you one by one, come and I beat you too. I felt a little nervous, but after all, I got this superpower. What should I do if there are any side effects of everyone? At this moment, the mechanical sound of the valet suddenly began to sound in the brain. Ding. The death circle rankings are updated. The host Yingjie's first death record is on the list. Current ranking, number 999. Death method, falls on the stairs, complaining and rating, the food must be deducted. Please continue to kill and hit the top of the list a few more times. I almost sprayed out an old blood. What kind of ghost rankings? Are you still publicly complaining that I have to lose my food? This system is funny. What's more, the next second, the phone suddenly vibrated. I opened it and saw that the campus forum had exploded. I put it on the top and wrote, the top ranking of the death circle. Yingjie's slum staircase is on the list, and the chicken is a real chicken. The comments below are all ha ha ha, and someone even tagged me directly, Yingjie, you fell beautifully. Next time I change my flower to die, and fight for the top 10. My face is green. Can this system even broadcast my death record directly online? Isn't this pure society dead? Yingjie came over and saw her smile, and her eyes were almost coming out. Ha ha ha, Yingjie, you are famous. The chicken is absolutely terrible. What is this ranking? Why is there your way of death? I gritted my teeth and slashed, and said, I don't know, who might be the one who is malicious. But the heart has already exploded. What exactly is this death circle system? Why did my death be made public and what rankings can it be on? More importantly, if I die again next time, will I unlock my more awesome abilities? Just as Usi was thinking, the far corner suddenly came to Yingjie's roar, Yingjie, you mother will wait for me, this matter is not over. I sneered, turned my head and looked in his direction, clenched my fists, and a war ignited in my heart. Not finished? Okay, I want to see what kind of beauty you can make. Yingjie's ruthless words, this is not finished, were still heard in his ears. I stood under the teaching building, my fists were chuckling, and I was a little confused in my heart. It was just that I used my superpower to beat this goods down and it was a pleasure, but this guy was obviously a revenge. I was sure that I would really find someone to come to me. There is also the death circle system that opens my death record and makes some rankings, which simply jumps repeatedly around the death of the society. Yingjie, what are you thinking? You're not so cool? Why are you now like a frosted eggplant? Yingjie turned over, and her mouth was still smiling, her eyes were dripping, and she was watching me laugh. I rolled my eyes and said unhappily, "Boy, I'm thinking about being serious. What's going on with this ranking? Who did it? How could you still know about my slamming the stairs?" Yingjie was jokingly, and the mobile phone screen swayed in front of me. There were still the top post on the forum. There were hundreds of lines in the comment area, and people shouted about English brides and cookie chicken. She smiled and said, "No matter who did it, you are a celebrity in the campus anyway, and anyone will recognize you wherever you go. I just heard that someone would kill you next time. The highest rate is actually being beaten to death by Yingjie, ha ha ha." My face was dark and I gritted my teeth and said, "Smile, I'm going to be mocked by you all online? I really want to know what this system is. It's true that it will become stronger once you die, but this public punishment setting is too cripple." System? What system? Yingjie was stunned, her eyes filled with gossip. What did you say just now? It will become stronger after death? Yingjie, you won't be really transformed by aliens, right? My heart skipped a beat, and I realized that I was talking, so I hurriedly yelled, "It's okay, I'm talking nonsense. I just think this is evil and nonsense." But I was determined in my heart. The matter in this system could never be known to the second person, otherwise I would really become a teenager in the laboratory. Yongsiming didn't believe it, but she didn't ask deeply, just patted me on the shoulder. "Okay, anyway, you are so powerful now that Yingjie helps people, I guess they dare not mess with you in a short time. But I remind you, don't be too lazy, everyone is really slandered, but no one will save you." Lang? I'm so angry. I felt a little nervous when I said, and my heart was a little nervous. I just fell to death and died, but I was resurrected, but it hurts so much. Who knows if I will die next time? But after thinking about it, the system said that the next death can unlock new abilities. How can I know what surprise you will be if I don't try this? Just as Usia was thinking, the mechanical sound of the Valiant suddenly sounded in his brain, ding. During the host's emotional fluctuation detection, do you want to actively challenge the death circle and unlock new abilities? Friendly reminder, there are additional rewards for active delivery, vegetable chicken. I was almost angry. This system is really going to cause trouble. What is an active head delivery? But I have to say, it made my heart scared. Superpower is already so awesome. What will your next ability be? Flying the sky? Being obsessed? Or something more alien? Yingjie, why are you stupid again? You won't be really told by me. Are you planning to go and wander? Yingjie poked my arm and looked suspicious. I returned to my senses and said, "No, I just think about the sports meeting tomorrow. I heard that Yingjie reported a 100-meter sprint, and the number was to break the campus record. I have to go and see why the goods were cut." Sports? 100-meter sting? Yunqi's eyes lit up and she was frustrated. Then you will report a slap. With your current strength, you may be able to turn Yingjie into a slag in seconds. Ha, it's great to think about that picture. As soon as I felt that sports was indeed a good opportunity. I was so happy to hear it when I publicly humiliate Yingjie. But before that, I have to try what the active heads are going on in this system. Wani really has new abilities, so I can't fly directly when I am in sports. Okay, that's it. I'll go to register. I made a decision, turned around and walked to the office of the Ministry of Sports, and thought about another thing: how can I die safely and unlock new abilities? In the evening, there were not many cars in the old street outside the campus, but it was also very hot. I stood on the road, my palms were sweating a little, and my brain was filled with the sound of the system. There are rewards for active delivery, and it will be empowering to hear this. But if you really have to take action, you still have to think about it. I don't believe it anymore. What can I do if I die once? I can survive anyway. I gritted my teeth, stared at the truck that was opening from afar, and walked straight toward the middle of the road. When passers-by saw me doing this, they all looked confused. Someone even shouted, "Young man, are you looking for death? Come back quickly." I felt a silence in my heart, but I still couldn't retreat. The truck driver certainly didn't expect someone would suddenly come out and honk the horn. The harsh sound made my ears hurt. But the speed was too fast and I couldn't stop at all. I was hitting me. Bang! There was a huge sound, and I was hit and flew around, slamming heavily on the road. My mind blurred in an instant. At the last moment, there was only one thought in my brain: this mother hurts so much. Ding! The death circle system is activated, and the host's second death was detected. The reason: it was hit by a car and flew. The death method is rated mentally retarded. The official complained that the Easter egg was activated, actively delivered the head, and the IQ was touching. The additional bonus has been released. Please check it, chicken. The familiar sand sculpture mechanical sound was heard again, and the language was so good that I wanted to get up and give it a piece. I suddenly opened my eyes and realized that I was standing intact on the road again, without any injuries on my body, and my clothes were clean. Passers-by around were still screaming. Someone patted me with his cell phone and shouted in his mouth, "Boke, why is this person okay? Didn't he be hit and fly?" I ignored them and lowered my head and felt my body. I realized that after this reunion, my leg muscles seemed to develop abnormally, as if they could burst out at any time. Ding! The host's second resurrection was successful. Random ability bonus, speeding movement. Current speed value, 10 times that of ordinary humans. Additional bonus, the ranking of the death circle ranking has been increased to 8,888. Next time death will unlock new abilities. Come on, you're mentally retarded. The mechanical sound rose again, and I felt ecstatic in my heart. Speeding movement? Isn't this just a flashing machine? I tried to trot a step, but after a whirl I drew more than 10 meters. The pedestrians on the road were stunned, and some thought they were dazzled. I was also confused. This speed is not something that people can achieve. Ha, I'm really Superman. I couldn't help laughing to the sky, and my heart started to calculate how to step Yingjie under my feet. But with a smile, I suddenly remembered that the rankings of the system had just said were improved. 8888. The comment area below exploded again, and someone laughed directly. Is Yingjie so crazy? It's too hard to take the initiative to send the head. My face was hot and I turned off my phone tightly. I was secretly ignoring the system in my heart and could really play. But just as I was about to leave, I suddenly noticed that there were a few unfamiliar names on the ranking list besides me. The number 1 guy is called Shadow. There are more than 10 deaths. The way of death is mission failure, and the evaluation is hardcore player. There are several names and different ways of dying, but they all have a strange smell. Is there anyone else playing this death circle? My heart sank, and I thought the water behind this system was deeper than I thought. But now I have no time to think about it. Sports is the urgent task, and I have to step on Yingjie first. The next day, the campus sports meeting was crowded with people on the venue, and the atmosphere was as warm as the new year. The 100-meter sting is a pressure project. Yingjie, a fellow soldier, stood on the starting line early, wearing professional sportswear, and bragged to the people around him with a stinky face, "I'm going to break the record today. It's useless for anyone to come." I stood far away, listening to his words, almost laughing. Yingjie came over and said in a short voice, "Yingjie, you beaten this goods yesterday, and you dare to be so crazy today. Don't show mercy," and run to his face. "Don't worry, it's impossible to show mercy." I grinned, moved my legs and felt that my whole body was filled with explosive power. The competition began quickly, and the first group of Yingjie came on stage. The group started like a wild dog, and the speed was indeed fast. When the final shot was swept, the timer showed 10 seconds and 12 seconds, which directly broke the campus record. The whole scene was boiling in an instant, and Yingjie was even more proud. He thrust the audience into a middle finger and shouted in his mouth, "Who else?" Yingjie rolled her eyes and complained, "I deserve a beating this." "Yingjie, you're here, don't let me down." I sneered and walked slowly to the starting line. My classmates around me saw that it was me. In the llama discussion, someone shouted, "The chicken is here, let's see how you run this time." I ignored these sounds, squatted down, held the ground with both hands, and there was only one thought in my brain, let you see what real speed is. Bang! I made the gun rush, and I kicked the ground suddenly, and the whole person rushed out like an arrow, and the voices of my ears were heard, and everything in front of me turned into a blurred shadow. In less than 3 seconds, I had already hit the final point and the timer showed 5 seconds 88. The whole scene was silent for 3 seconds, and then a shocking scream broke out, "Cross! 5 seconds 88? Is this the speed that people can run out? Yingjie is awesome. Yingjie's record is as broken as if it's a play." Yingjie stood next to the end, his face was blue and his mouth was lit for a long time, but he couldn't say a word. I walked slowly over, patted his shoulder, and smiled so hard that I felt very beaten up. Brother Yingjie, aren't you very crazy? Why don't you scream? Why don't you compare with each other? What if I'll let you 50 meters? Yingjie's face was red and he gritted his teeth and stared at me. "You mother, don't be proud. This is not over." After saying that, he was so angry that he left, and he had no prizes. Yingjie smiled so hard that her stomach hurt. She ran over and hooked my neck. "Ha ha ha, Yingjie, you will become a Superman if you die." Yingjie's face is beaten, and it is estimated that he will be able to get rid of his kidney for 3 days. After studying around, some students said I was awesome, some asked me how I practiced, and some asked me to sign directly. I was a little confused and asked for a few words to answer, and then pulled Yingjie to prepare for it. But as soon as I walked to the playground, my phone suddenly vibrated, and the forum post was updated again. My ranking was directly ranked 7777. The way of death was still cart crashing and flying, and the evaluation turned into touching IQ but able to run. But what surprised me even more was that the strange names on the rankings were updated again. The shadow with the most deaths has actually died 20 times. The latest method of death reads chasing by the organization. Organization? Chase? I felt nervous and felt that this system was not that simple. Who are these dead? Why are they being rolled in? Also, what secrets are hidden behind the system? Just as he was stunned, Yingjie came over and glanced at my phone, and said, "Are you on the list again? Yingjie, are you really planning to make a name for yourself? But why are there others in this ranking? The more you look at this, the more evil you become. You don't want to die. What should you do if you really play tricks on it?" I smiled reluctantly and put away my phone. "Don't worry, I'm a good deal." But I didn't have any thoughts in my heart. Is this death circle a game or a trap? What I care more about is the growing number of names on the rankings. The next challenge will probably not be as simple as the movement. After the sports meeting, my famous reputation in the campus was a complete blowout. The 100-meter thrust was 5 seconds 88, and it was a slight trampling on Yingjie's record. Now, people pointed at me wherever I went. Some people called me flashing and some people secretly laughed at me cookie chicken. The ranking of death circles on the forum is even more popular. My ranking is 7777th, and the comments below are all about various comments. But I didn't care about these things. My brain was full of unfamiliar names on the rankings, especially the guy named Shadow. The number of deaths has reached 20 times, and the latest record is chased by the organization. These 4 words make my heart feel irritated. What organization does it mean? How many people did this system pull? Yingjie, what are you doing? You won't be savoring the scene where Yingjie ran away and cried yesterday, right? Yingjie came over, holding a lollipop in her hand, biting her mouth and still had the smile on her face that she deserved a beating. I rolled my eyes and turned off the screen of my phone. I said in a bad mood, "What are you thinking about?" "I'm thinking about the important things. What's going on in this ranking? Besides me, there are others who are also dying. This is a place where the door of evil is revealed." Yingjie was stunned, and took the lollipop out of her mouth, narrowing her eyes. "You mean, those names? It's really a bit strange, especially that shadow, who died 20 times and was still jumping around, and he didn't feel like an ordinary person. But what do you care about that much? Anyway, you have superpowers now, no matter who he is, wouldn't it be enough to beat him up?" I curled my lips, my heart was not so happy. Yingjie listened easily, but I always felt that the death circle system was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. Why is my death public? Why are those people behind their names being rolled in? And what is that organization? No, I have to dig the bottom of this system, otherwise I will always feel like I have to fall into the top one day. "Yingjie, you help me," I said in a low voice. My eyes swept around, and I realized that no one had secretly listened to it before continuing. "Don't you usually like to browse forums? Help me check when the rankings first appeared, and those names, and do you have anything in common? Don't ask me why, you'll be right to help me anyway." Yingjie raised her eyebrows and became interested. "Yay, Yingjie, are you going to play detective?" "Okay, I'll help you, but you have to ask me to have fried pork in the canteen for a week. How about it? Trade." I gritted my teeth and replied, complaining in my heart that this girl would really take advantage of the situation. In the next few days, I waited for Yingjie's news and secretly checked the information myself. The rankings on the forum are updated very quickly, but there is no useful information except for the name and method of death. I also tried to contact several people with lower rankings. After private messages, I sent them all to the sea and no one replied. Just as I was about to give up, Yingjie finally came to the door. Her face was a bit weird. "Yingjie, guess what I found?" She sat on the bench opposite the dormitory, holding her cell phone in her hand, and said mysteriously, "The first name appeared in this ranking was 3 months ago. At that time, there was only one name, that shadow. Later, some people were on the list, but the way of death was particularly strange. Some were mission failure and some were accidents, which were not as good as normal people could encounter. And I also found that some of these names were students from our university city, and some heard them from the school next door." My heart sank and I asked, "You mean, this system may only be effective within the university city area? Also, what does a mission failure mean?" Yingjie said, "How do I know? But I guess, this system may not choose people at random, but has some rules. For example, when you died for the first time, did something special happen?" I was stunned and recalled the scene of falling on the stairs that day. Something special? It seems nothing except being bullied by Yingjie. Wait. Before I fell that day, I heard a strange sound, like someone was whispering in my ears, but at that time I thought it was an illusion and didn't care. "Yingjie, you have to make some sense. I think about it again, maybe there is really a thread." I was perfunctory and decided to go back to the dormitory tonight to try again to see if I could communicate with the system, and ask what this mess is. But I didn't expect that before I could go back to the dormitory, I came to the door first. In the evening, I came out of the library and prepared to take a shortcut to the dormitory. As a result, I walked to the alley behind the campus and heard a rapid sound of footsteps coming from the back. When I looked back, Yingjie, a fellow man, blocked the entrance of the alley with 7 or 8 younger brothers. He was still slugging the resentment of being humiliated by me that day of the sports meeting, and his eyes were dripping. "Yingjie, I've been looking for you for a few days, and finally I caught it." Yingjie sneered, holding a baseball bat in his hand, and walked slowly towards me. "You are crazy about sports. Today I want to see if you still have that awesomeness." My heart was tight. Although I had superpower and speeding movements, the alley was so narrow that it could not be open at all. And there were many people on the other side. No matter how awesome I was, I couldn't stand the crowd. I strongly decorated and said with a hard voice, "Yingjie, Are your mother not remembered? I didn't beat you last time, and I'm still looking for abuse today. Abuse? I will let you know today. What is abuse? Yingjie shook his hand, and the younger brother behind him came up. Someone was holding a stick, and some were clenching his fists directly, and he was about to punish me to death. I gritted my teeth and tried to push out at speed, but the alley was too narrow. I was caught by a little brother after running 2 steps and smashed it down with a stick in front of me. I raised my hand and slapped it. Although the superpower did not hurt me, it still shocked my arms. Then, the others rushed up, and the fists and sticks hit like rain. I couldn't resist it at all, so I could only hold on to it. Bang! 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 Every hit made my bones hurt. The super strength made me thick skin, but I couldn't withstand the greetings of so many people. Yingjie stood aside and sneered, and the baseball bat in his hand slammed down at my back. Go to die, trash. My eyes went dark, and the pain instantly swept across my body, and my mind was directly broken. At the last moment, I had only one thought in my heart: this mother is too frustrated. Ding! The death circle system is activated, and the host's 3rd death was detected. The reason: death by the group. The death method is rated, I can't bear to see. The official complained that the Easter egg was started being beaten into a dog. The battle was 5. Please continue to blow, the chicken. The familiar sand sculpture mechanical sound was heard in the brain again, and the language was so good that I wanted to get up and punch it. I suddenly opened my eyes and found that I was standing intact at the entrance of the alley again, without any injuries on my body, and my clothes were clean. In the alley, Yingjie and his younger brothers were still there. When I suddenly stand up and I was confused. Bog, what's wrong with this guy? Didn't he be beaten down just now? A little brother rubbed his eyes, as if he had seen a ghost. Yingjie was also stunned for a moment, but immediately sneered, if you are playing tricks on the gods, I don't believe you are really immortal. I will beat me up again. I smiled coldly, and the anger in my heart had already reached the top. I have never forgotten the humiliation of being beaten up by the crowd. Just as he was about to start, the mechanical sound suddenly echoed in his brain, ding. The host's 3rd resurrection was successful, and the random ability bonus was flame control. Current ability value: freely generate and control flames, with a temperature limit of 3000 degrees Celsius. The next time he died, he will unblock his new ability. Come on, give it to the head, waste it. Flame control? My heart was shocked, and I raised my hand. When I moved my mind, a red flame actually burst out from the palm of my hand, and the heat waves came over, and the air was twisted. When the little brothers around saw this, they all took a step back. Someone was surprised and said, Bog, what is this? Magic? Magic, you are paralyzed. I gritted my teeth and roared, and with a swept my hand, the flames turned into a fire snake and rushed towards the nearest little brother. The guy screamed with a startle and hid, but his clothes were still stuck, making him beat him up with a lot of burning, shouting, help! I'm so burning. When the other little brothers saw this, Lima was panicked. Some wanted to run away, and some even rushed up with their heads. I sneered, my fingers popped up, and several small fireballs smashed over accurately, instantly igniting their legs and sleeves. The whole alley was filled with the sound of ghosts and howling. These guys who were just showing off their mighty power are now holding rats, their clothes are burnt in a shattered manner, and they are as funny as if they are performing a sketch. Yingjie stood behind, his face blue, and his hands holding the baseball bat were shaking. He obviously didn't expect that I would suddenly make such a move, and gritted his teeth and said, Yingjie, your mother is playing with it. Don't use these ghost knives and shoot me with real swords and guns. Really, the sword and the gun? Why don't I say this just now? I walked over with a sneer, flipped my palm, and a larger group of flames floated directly in the air. The hot waves forced Yingjie to take a few steps back, and the amount was covered in sweat. Don't come. Yingjie finally got upset, threw away the baseball bat, and turned around and wanted to run away. But how could I let him escape? With a flash of his hand, a firewall directly swayed his way. The flames were so high that the air was crackling. Yingjie, run, aren't you crazy? Why are you like a dog now? I approached step by step, and the flames jumped in my palm, reflecting the slightest bit on my face. Yingjie was so scared that his legs were soft and he knelt down with a sound, and the sound was trembling. Yingjie, brother, I'm wrong. Don't worry about me, everything is easy to say. Is it wrong? It's too late. I snorted coldly, and my fingers popped, and a small group of flames fell directly on his foot, making him jump up in shock, and his pants were burned out of a hole. He screamed, crawling out of the alley with a blue face, followed by a few younger brothers with a bruised nose and a very funny scene. I looked at their backs as they fled in panic, and I felt so happy that I was about to fly. This ability to control the flame is really too relieved. That's all the complaints about my revenge. Ha ha, Yingjie, you're so awesome. They're so crazy that they're looking for teeth, I'm almost laughing. Yingjie's voice suddenly came from the entrance of the alley. I looked back and saw that this girl came here for some time, and she was holding her cell phone in her hand, and it was only just recorded. Why are you here? You're recording videos? I was stunned and walked over tightly, with a little bit of a headache on my face. Don't mess around, this matter is too big to end. It's a waste to collect the scene. Isn't it a waste to not share this wonderful scene? Yingjie smiled and pointed her finger. The video on the phone screen had been uploaded to the forum. The title was, "The English Guy Turned into a Flame, and Yingjie was Burned into a Dog." The comment area below exploded in an instant, all of which were shocking, awesome, and how to do this special effect. My face was dark and I gritted my teeth and said, Yingjie, your mother cheated me. If this is revealed, how can I explain it? What's the explanation? Just say that you are the son of God. Anyway, you are a campus legend now. You are always in the mood, and you are always in the spotlight. What are you afraid of? Yingjie patted my shoulder and smiled happily. I was speechless, I could only smile bitterly. But I felt a little happy. As soon as this video was released, Yingjie probably wouldn't dare to mess with me again. Moreover, the ability to control the flame is actually too strong. It is a walking lighter. In the future, who dares to challenge me and directly burn them to the sky? Just as he was proud, the mechanical sound of the valet suddenly popped up in his brain, ding. The death circle rankings are updated. The host Yingjie's third death record is on the list. Current ranking, number 6666. Death method, death by a group, complaining and raiding, being beaten into a dog, fighting for 5. Please continue to kill a few more times and hit the top of the list, Wuchai. I was almost angry. This system really doesn't speak human words. What does it mean to be a fighter? But when I opened my phone, I found that the forum post was indeed updated. My ranking rose to 6666. The way of death and evaluation were exactly the same as the system said. In the comments below, in addition to laughing at me for being dead again, many people also praised my flame ability for videos, and some even guessed whether I was a system son, and my abilities were better than the other. But what I noticed even more was the updates of other names on the rankings. The number of deaths in the shadow has reached 22 times. The latest method of death is the organization failed to test, and the evaluation is hardcore to the head. There are also several new names, and the way of death is also strange, such as being slapped by cursed objects and betrayed in missions. It is unlike anything that ordinary people can encounter. Yingjie, look at this ranking list. How come these death methods become more and more evil? I passed my phone over and said with a brow, especially that organization always appears, and it feels like a big force. Do you think this system controls the entire university city? Yingjie was stunned and her face became stern. Control the university city? It's a bit annoying to hear it, but when you say it, I think this system is not simple. You see, most of these dead people are students in our film, and the scope is too concentrated. And the tasks, tests, etc., are like someone is controlling them behind the scenes, and they arrange a game for you. My heart sank. Yingjie's words were similar to what I guessed. This death circle is definitely not a single pure external locking system, and there must be a bigger secret behind it. Those names, those ways of death, and even my own abilities may be controlled by some organization or higher levels. Yingjie, I have to be more careful next. The water in this system is too deep, so I have to dig out some truth, otherwise I will always feel like I will be killed one day. I said softly, a trace of determination ignited in my eyes. Yingjie was a little bit of his head and rarely joked, okay, you can just take it easy. But I remind you that Qing's helper has been driven away by you, but this guy will definitely not be good at slack. No matter how powerful you are, you have to be careful of some tricks. I sneered and clenched my fists tightly. Miwei? Come on one, I burn one, come on one, I burn one. I have flames in my hand now, and no one is afraid of anyone coming. Although I said this, I know in my heart that Yingjie is just a little trouble, and the real challenge may still be at the forefront. There are more and more names on the rankings, and the way of death is becoming more and more distant. This university city may have long become a chessboard for a certain game. And I am a chess piece or a player who can turn the board. The wind in the alley blew over, bringing a touch of slightness. I looked at the direction of the faraway and the rankings that kept refreshing on my phone, and an unprecedented aspiration ignited in my heart. No matter what is behind this system, I have to lift it up. The night wind in the alley was a little cold. I stood under the road lights, and the ranking of death circles on the mobile phone screen was still on. The guy named Shadow has died 22 times. The latest record is the organization failed to test the organization. The two words organization are like thorns, which make my heart hair grow straight. Yingjie was burned by me, and I guess he didn't dare to come and find fault again in a short period of time, but I always felt that the water in this university city was deeper than I thought. System, rankings, other dead people. What secrets are hidden behind all this? Yingjie, are you really planning to dig the bottom of the system? How do I think you are asking for trouble? Yingjie leaned against the road lamp, holding a video of my flame war just now in her hand, and wrote a look of being hot and not being too serious on her face. I put away my cell phone and curled my lips. What if I don't dig? If this broken system is not moving, I will open up how I die. I won't say that the society is dead, but I always hook me to send it to my head. I really got rid of it one day. Who will save me? There's also that organism that doesn't seem like a good thing when I hear it. I have to figure it out first, otherwise I will always feel that my neck is waving. Yingjie was jokingly, biting a lollipop, and said vaguely, okay, you have superpowers anyway, you can get rid of it. But I can remind you not to really play with yourself. The names I found are all evil. Maybe there is really a big force to control it from behind, so you can't be too hard. Hard? I have flames in my hand. Who is coming to burn who? I was so hard on my mouth, and I felt a little bulging in my heart. Yingjie said it was right. The death methods on the ranking list, such as backlashed by cursed objects and betrayed in missions, are unlike anything that ordinary people can encounter. As a college student, no matter how good I am, I can't fight head-on with any big force. But I have let go of everything, and now my head is not my style. In the next few days, I began to secretly investigate the coming of this death circle system. There are no new clues in the rankings on the forum, and there are still no responses to those names sent by private messages. I even tried to squat in the dormitory in the middle of the night, closing my eyes to concentrate, and trying to talk with the system. As a result, except for the savory mechanical sound in my brain, I didn't get anything useful. However, Yingjie really helped me find something. On weekend night, she sneaked into my dormitory, with a bunch of pictures stored on her mobile phone, and her face was a little bit serious. Yingjie, guess what I found? She passed her phone over. There were a bunch of clips of old forum posts on the screen, which dated back to 3 months ago. I looked through the forums of several schools in the university city and found that the rankings were just around the corner. Someone mentioned an underground organization called Darklands Club. She said that this helps people to do some special trials and likes to choose college students for trials. Some people guess that the names on the rankings may have something to do with this organization. Dark Circle? I felt nervous and asked, testing for a test product? What does it mean? Also, where is this organization? Yingjie shook her head and said in a low voice, no one knows the specifics, and the posts are all about hearing. However, some people mention that the Dark Circle may be in the old industrial area on the edge of the university city. I heard that the place had been deserted, but recently there have been rumors and silences, and there are still light at night, as if it was doing something. I feel it in my heart, old industrial area. I know that place is not far away from the university city, and no one goes there usually, and it sounds like a good place to hide secrets. If this Dark Circle really has something to do with the system, then I might be able to dig out some truth. I gritted my teeth and decided to go and explore the way tonight. Yingjie, don't worry about this matter, I'll go and see it myself. Please help me stare at the forum and tell me any new news anytime. I made the decision, my eyes full of determination. Yingjie was stunned, and Lima responded, are you crazy? Go alone? Wani really has something to do, what are you doing? No, I have to go with you, at least I can help you let go. Don't let it go, you're going to drag your legs down. I said with no pride, I have superpowers, I can't die, you can just wait for news at home. If there is really something wrong, can't I run away? Yingjie still wanted to argue, but I was determined, so she could only stop at the head without hesitation and stumble on me before leaving. Okay, you can just sit back and don't really play with yourself. Remember, your phone is on at any time, and if you have something to do, please contact me. Late that night, I put on my black clothes, put on my hat, sneaked out of the dormitory, and headed straight for the old industrial area. The place was indeed the same as the one said. It was so destructive that it was full of wasteland and grass, and there was a strange smell in the air. The factory was far away and there were several faint lights coming from the window, which made my heart feel irritated. Can people hide here really hide? I muttered in a low voice, and with the ability to move faster, I quickly pulled myself to the nearest factory. When I got closer, I found it was indeed silence. There were no worries and metal collisions in the factory, as if I was busy with something. I put my wall on it and quietly walked to the side, looking through the broken iron door, which made my skin numb at a glance. The lights in the factory were dim, and dozens of people were wearing black uniforms, busy with a huge machine, with a bunch of tubes connected to the machine, like experimental equipment in science fiction films. What's even more strange is that there are several iron cans on the corner of the wall, which are lying around people, one with its head down, as if it's being drugged and cannot even move. Crockett, what's going on? Is there really a gang? My heart beat faster and I took out my phone to take a picture, but when I pressed the door, my phone suddenly vibrated, and a forum notice popped up on the screen. The Death Circle rankings are updated, the number of deaths in the shadow +1, reason, the trial failed. As soon as this notice was released, I felt even more panicked. Shadow, is it hard to be here too? Just as Usi was thinking, a piece of gravel suddenly stepped on under his feet, and a crisp sound came out, which was particularly harsh in this quiet night. Who is there? Someone in the factory shouted softly. Then several strong flashes shot directly over. I heard a secret sound and turned around and wanted to run, but before I could even take a step, the side was suddenly knocked open, and several men in black rushed out, holding a strange gun in their hands, shooting at me. I hurriedly avoided by moving speed, but the guns were not shot, but green smoke, which spread out in an instant, making my eyes unable to open. I covered my mouth and tried to rush out, but after taking a breath, Lima felt dizzy and kneeled directly on the ground with his legs, his mind quickly blurred. My mother was hit. The last thought in my heart flashed and then it went dark. Ding! The Death Circle system is activated, and the host's fourth death was detected. The reason, poisonous poisoning, death method rating, stupid and family level. The official complained that the Easter eggs were opened. Explored. Explore the tomb. Please continue to eat, chicken. The familiar sand sculpture mechanical sound was heard in my brain again, and the language was so good that I wanted to get up and give it a piece. I suddenly opened my eyes and found that I was standing intact on the open space outside the factory again, without any strangeness on my body, and my clothes were clean and clean. The poison in the air has dissipated, and several men in black are still searching far away, and they obviously didn't find out about my resurrection. Ding! The host's fourth resurrection was successful, and the random ability reward was toxin immunity. Current ability value, completely immune to all toxic substances. The next time you die, new abilities will be unlocked. Come on, give it to the head, stupid goods. The mechanical sound rose again, and I felt ecstatic in my heart. Toxin immunity? Isn't this just the ability to help people with special restraint? I sneered, clenched my fists, and the anger in my heart was strong. I haven't forgotten the humiliation of being knocked down by poison. Now that I have new abilities, these guys don't want to run away. I took a deep breath, moved my wrists, and walked directly to the large door of the factory, not planning to hide the pressure. Who? Stop! The two guards at the door walked over and rushed over, and lifted the poisonous gun and sprayed at me. The green smoke spread out again, but this time I didn't even blink my eyes. I walked through the smoke, walked up to them, and grinned. Yeah, is it so good to spray? Should I? The two guards were stunned. They obviously didn't expect that I could be immune to poison and had not reacted. I had already punched and beaten them up with superpower, smashed them into the factory, and made two loud noises of bang bang. The man inside Lima exploded, and dozens of men in black came out. Some took guns, some took electric sticks, and they shouted in their mouths, "Catch him! Don't let him run away! Run? I burned you this broken place today." I sneered, flipped my palm, and the flame control ability instantly started. A firewall directly sucked their way, and the heat wave forced them to take a few steps back. Afterwards, my fingers popped up, and dozens of small fireballs were smashed over, making them slammed in full swing. All of them caught fire, and the scene was as funny as if they were performing a comedy. "Boat, this guy is a monster. Call reinforcements." Someone was shocked, but how could I give them the opportunity? By moving at speed, I rushed into the crowd with a few flashes, with flames in my fists, punching them one by one, making them scream. The poisonous gun was useless to press me. I also hit easily when I hit the stick. Several dozen people were hit by me. The factory was filled with the sound of ghosts and howling. Just as I was having a good beating, a familiar voice suddenly came from the depths of the factory. "Yingjie? Why are your mother here?" I followed the sound and saw that Yingjie was wearing the uniform of a man in black, poking his head out of the corner, his face full of shock and fear. "Yingjie? Bottom, why have you become the little guy in this group?" I was stunned, and then couldn't help laughing. "Okay, you're a dog that's very fast. How come you just saw me beat someone up?" Yingjie's face was red and gritted his teeth and said, "You're so numb. I'm a new member, what's wrong? Don't use your ghost tricks, let's really slap." As he said, he actually took out a dagger from his waist and rushed towards me, and he wanted to save face. I rolled my eyes, and didn't hide from my head. When I swung my hands, a small group of flames directly burned to his foot. He was so scared that he jumped up and the dagger fell. Then I rushed over with one step, grabbed his clothes with a single hand, lifted him up, punched him one after another, and under super strength, he looked like a sandbag, and his face was blue for a few seconds, and he shouted in his mouth, "Don't hit him. Brother, I'm wrong. Let me go." "Let you go? I'm in a good mood today. What's the hemiplegia like?" I sneered, flipped my palms, and the flames pounded on my fingertips, so scared that Yingjie's face turned white. He kept begging for a while, "Don't burn. Everything is good. I tell you, this place is a dark circle. What kind of death system are they studying? The rankings are what they do." My heart was shocked. It really has something to do with the darkness. But now is not the time to ask, I have to lift this place up first. I snorted coldly, threw Yingjie on the ground, raised my foot and stepped on his chest, and turned my head to the man in black who was still slamming. "It's all my mother. If you don't get rid of it, I'll burn your broken factory." Once this is out, how can the rest of the people dare to be tough? A chain stroller ran away, and the machine and the iron can't take care of it. Yingjie still wanted to take advantage of the situation, but I couldn't move him, so I could only lie down with humiliation, all in my eyes. "Ha ha ha, Yingjie, you are so awesome." Yingjie's goods were beaten into a dog again. "I'm so laughing." Yunqi's voice suddenly came from outside the factory. I looked back and saw that this girl came with her, not knowing when she was holding her cell phone in her hand. She was obviously broadcasting again, and her face was so smiling that her eyes were almost coming out. "Why are your mother here again? Still live broadcast?" My face was dark. I went over and wanted to snatch her mobile phone, but Yingjie hid quickly and shouted in her mouth, "Don't slap." Everyone was excited. Look, the screen was full of Yingjie. Yingjie is really in love, the flame is burning again. Ha ha ha, Yingjie's face was beaten, and he probably can get to the graduate level. I was speechless, so I could only smile bitterly, turn around and give Yingjie a foot, stomping on him, and shout in his mouth, "Don't step on it. I'm so wrong. Say everything." I snorted coldly and lowered my head, "Say, what exactly will the dark circle come from? Did you do this death circle system?" Yingjie's face was so painful that his face was twisted, and he kept saying, I just joined, I don't know anything. I just heard that this system is used to filter the strongest people, and the people on the rankings are all trial products. It's specific, it really doesn't matter to me." Testing? My heart sank, and I felt that this was bigger than I thought. However, Yingjie's goods are not hard at first sight, and I guess they can't ask more. I sneered, opened my feet loosely, and warned, "Come on, let me see you hang out with this helper next time, and your mother won't even recognize you." Yingjie ran away from the ground with a slim figure, and his back was so stubborn. Yunqi was still laughing so hard that she couldn't stand up. The screenplay of mobile live broadcast was already crazy, all of which were comments such as "continuing the goods," "English dominance," and "this live broadcast is more exciting than a movie." I ignored these things and turned around and looked at the machine and iron in the factory. A sense of determination ignited in my heart. Dark circles, death circle systems, these secrets I must dig out. No matter what force you have behind you, I'm not afraid. With superpowers in hand, and toxins are immune to this new external slap, who will come and beat me up? But just as I was about to search the factory again, the mechanical sound of the valet suddenly came to my brain, ding. The death circle rankings were updated. The host Yingjie's fourth death record was on the list. Current ranking, number 5555. Death method, poisonous poisoning, complaining and raiding. Explore the secret? Explore the tomb. Please continue to die and hit the top of the list several times, stupid goods. I was almost angry. This system really doesn't speak human words. What is to explore the tomb? However, when I opened my phone, the forum post was indeed updated. My ranking rose to 5555. In addition to laughing at me for being dead again, many people also praised me for having only picked a few dozen people, and some even guessed whether I was going to challenge the top spot of the shadow. Yingjie, you really plan to make a fortune. But what's going on in this dark circle? After hearing Yingjie's words, I felt that the water behind this system was very deep. Don't come back. Yunqi put away her phone, rarely worried. I sneered and clenched my fists tightly. What's wrong with deep? I'm not afraid of poisonous air, can I still be afraid of them? There must be traces in this factory, I have to take a look. Speaking, I turned around and walked into the factory, preparing to search for the machines and irons. Yunqi sighed, but she followed her and muttered, "Okay, anyway, you don't listen to it, so I can only roam with you." But I'm fine, there's something wrong, I run faster than you. I rolled my eyes, ignored her, and an unprecedented desire to fight was ignited in my heart. Whether it is the dark circle or the system, no matter what is hidden behind it, I will lift it up to the sky. This university city will one day become my floorboard. The air in the factory still had a burnt smell, and the machines and irons were scattered on the ground, as if they had just experienced a mixed battle. I stood in the middle of the ruins, my eyes swept over the marks left by the men in black who were beaten away by me, and the fire in my heart was still not extinguished. The words dark circle and test products that Yingjie just revealed were pierced in my brain like a knife. This death circle system is definitely not a simple outer penetration, and the secret behind it is bigger than I thought. Yingjie, are you really going to continue digging? The evil gate here is so evil. What should I do if there are so many people coming again and again? Yingjie stood at the door of the factory, holding her cell phone in her hand, and she was worried about writing on her face, but there was a light of gossip in her eyes, and she obviously wanted to see it hot. I rolled my eyes and said unhappily, after a wave of burning, I am now immune to toxins and controlled by flames. I'm afraid of being so bad. There must be a threat in this factory. I have to figure out what this dark circle will come from, otherwise I will always feel that my neck is waving. Yingjie was joking and muttered, okay, you don't listen anyway. But I've said that, there's really something wrong, I run faster than you. She said, and she followed her in, with the screen on her phone lit up, probably browsing forums or preparing for live broadcasts again. I ignored her and started rummaging on the search in the factory. Those machines are full of symbols and buttons that you can't understand, such as high-tech things in science fiction movies, and you can't start with it. The people in the iron pot had long been taken away by the man in black, leaving only a pile of rags and medicine bottles, which had a strange smell, and were probably something of a poisonous atmosphere. I was about to give up when I suddenly stepped on a metal board under my feet. With a click, the floor actually sank a small piece, revealing a hidden door. There is a trough, there is still a dark room? I was shocked in my heart. I squatted down and pried open the dark door with superpower. Below was a narrow underground passage, painted black, and there was a cold wind blowing up, revealing an indescribable slightness. Yingjie, don't you really want to go down, right? This is a special way to get a head delivery. Yingjie walked over and her face turned a little white, but she still used her head to illuminate it with her mobile phone, and kept complaining about it in her mouth. Send me? I'm so stubborn, what are you afraid of? I sneered and jumped into the passage first. Yingjie hesitated for a moment, followed him, and muttered, okay, I'll spend the last time with you. I'm not responsible if I die. The passage was not long. After walking for a few 10 meters, I reached the end. In front was a thick iron door with a strange symbol engraved on it, like a ring, and there was an eyeball inside it, which made my skin numb. I tried pushing, but the door pattern was not moving, but when my palm touched the symbol, the brain suddenly felt the vibrant mechanical sound, ding. I detected that the host is close to the core area, and the advanced mode of the death circle system is turned on. Do you accept the final challenge? Friendly reminder, challenge failure equals permanent death. Vegetable chicken. Permanent death? My heart skipped a beat. When did this system add such a hardcore setting? But after thinking about it, I have died 4 times, can I still be afraid of this? I gritted my teeth and roared, accept it. I want to see what is hidden behind this broken system. Ding! The final challenge has been confirmed. The core area is unblocked. I wish you good luck, vegetable chicken. The mechanical sound smiled, and then the iron door rolled open slowly, revealing a huge basement with dim lights inside, surrounded by high-tech equipment, and a figure stood in the center, facing me with my back and wearing a black robe, and the atmosphere was extremely strange. Yingjie, who is this person? Why do you look like the final boss? Yingjie muttered in a low voice, and she had already started to record the phone, and she still complained, don't be moved. I really can't save you even if I broadcast it. I ignored her, took a deep breath, and shouted to the figure, hey, who are you? The head of the dark circle? Or the mastermind behind this broken system? Some of them have turned over, let's talk in person. The figure turned around slowly, revealing a white face, with no feelings in his eyes, and a strange smile on the corner of his mouth. His voice was low, as if he had crawled out of the ground. English, ranked 55-55 in the death circle, died 4 times, and his abilities include superpower, speeding movement, flame control and toxin immunity. It's good, you're more interesting than I expected. My heart was nervous. How did this guy know all my trump cards? He said that he was not showing weakness. Stop talking. Who are you? Did you do this death circle? What's the purpose? He smiled lightly and said quietly, you can call me Game Master. This death circle system is the game venue I created. The purpose? Pure for entertainment. These pieces of yours, every death and resurrection, are my best pastime. Especially you, Yingjie, die so stupidly, and you can make me laugh for a long time every time. Entertainment? Chess piece? I was so angry that my fists were tightened and I roared, you mother treat life as a toy. I will smash this game scene today. As I said, I turned my palms and the flame control ability was fully opened. A firewall rushed straight over, and the heat waves were so hot that the air was twisted. But the Game Master did not move at all. With a swipe, my firewall was extinguished, as if it was crushed by invisible force. He sneered, with this ability, dare to challenge me? It's so naive. Then he raised his hand and pointed. I didn't react yet. My body was suddenly pressed by a huge force, as if it was hit by a heavy pound of objects. He knelt on the ground, and my bones were almost broken. Yingjie. Boss, what's wrong with you? Yunqi shouted from behind, but she didn't dare to get close to her. The screen of the mobile phone was shaking so much. The screen was already blown up, all of which were comments such as boss is so strong, Yingjie is so sad, who is this stock? I gritted my teeth and tried to slap it, but the force became stronger and stronger, so I couldn't even lift my head. The Game Master walked over slowly and looked at me with his head down, his eyes full of mockery. Want to resist? I gave you all my abilities, and I can take them back at will. Die, clown. His fingers popped, and my eyes turned black, and my chest seemed to be pierced by something. The pain instantly spread across my body, and my mind was directly broken. At the last moment, there was only one thought in my heart, this guy is so strong. Ding! The death circle system is activated, and the host's 5th death was detected. The reason, he was killed in seconds by the Game Master. The death method is rated garbage. The official complained that the Easter eggs were opened to challenge the boss. Practice first, the chicken. Please continue to blow, waste the firewood. The familiar sand sculpture mechanical sound was heard in my brain again, and the language was so good that I wanted to get up and punch it. I suddenly opened my eyes and realized that I was standing intact at the entrance of the basement again without any injuries. The Game Master was still standing in the center, facing me behind my back, as if it was not taking my resurrection seriously. Yunqi was shocked by her face, and the mobile live broadcast continued, shouting in her mouth, Yingqiao, Yingjie, are you alive again? This system is too distant. I ignored her and recalled the humiliation that I had just been killed in seconds. That feeling of powerlessness made my fist chuck. But immediately, the mechanical sound rose again, ding. The host's 5th resurrection was successful, and the random ability reward was, time and space pause. Current ability value, it can be suspended for 10 seconds, range 100 meters, used every 24 hours. The next time death will unblock new abilities, come on, give it to the head, garbage. Time and space are paused? I was shocked, and Lima realized how amazing this ability was. In 10 seconds, I have done too many things to me. I sneered, clenched my fists, and shouted at the Game Master, hey, aren't you crazy just now? Let's try again, I'll kill you this time. The Game Master turned around slowly, and the mocking expression was still on his face. Oh? Resurrected? Do you still dare to challenge me? Okay, I want to see, you can hold it for a few seconds this time. As he said, he raised his hand and another invisible huge force was pressed over, and the air seemed to be compressed, forcing me to breathe. But this time, I didn't resist and directly activated my time and space suspension ability. In an instant, everything around was calm, and the Game Master's hand stopped in mid-air, and the dust in the air stopped moving. I grinned, moved several flashes behind him by speeding, and all my superpower opened. I punched him in the back of my brain. Then the flame control started, and a group of flames directly burned his whole body. After 10 seconds, time recovered. The Game Master was suddenly smashed by me with a punch, and the flames on his body were so high that his black robe was broken. He stumbled to the ground, and a sudden shock appeared on his face. Time and space are paused? Interesting. Your pawn is beyond my expectations. You numb your chess piece. I smashed your game scene today. I roared angrily, and while he had not completely reacted, another wave of attacks, the speeding movement made me look like a ghost, and my fist was carrying flames, and it raided at every vital point of him. The basement was full of flames and shock waves, and the scene was lit like a blockbuster movie. Yingjie is awesome. This wave of counterattack is booming. Yingjie shouted from behind. The screen of the mobile live broadcast was already exploded, and the screen was flying. Time and space are paused? This external suspension is too disgusting. Game Master is so upset. Yingjie, fuck him. Don't hold back. All the internet viewers watched the game through the live broadcast function of the forum rankings, and the comments and cheers were mixed together, and the atmosphere was extremely hot. But the Game Master obviously was not a vegetarian. After being hit hard by me for a few more times, he suddenly sneered, and a black air burst out from his body, forcing my flames to squeeze. He growled, "It's over, clown. The game ends here." Then he closed his hands and suddenly shook the basement. Sparks burst out from the equipment around him, and black energy waves rushed towards me, so fast that I couldn't hide at all. I gritted my teeth and resisted. The superpower prevented me from being killed instantly, but I was still torn a few holes by the energy waves, which made me suck my breath. The Game Master said coldly, "I give your abilities, so what if time and space are stopped? I can crush you with just one hand." Crush? I don't believe this evil. I gritted my teeth and roared. While he was still accumulating strength to attack, I rushed over again, moved to his side with speed. The flame control was fully opened, and a fire dragon smashed directly at his face. At the same time, I focused and prepared to use time and space to pause again, but the mechanical sound in my brain, ding. The time and space ability is cold, and I can't use it again within 24 hours, vegetable chicken. Cold? My heart sank, and I didn't expect that this ability would have such limitations. The Game Master clearly saw my brokenness, and sneered. The black air turned into dozens of touchers, and rushed towards me, so fast that I could not react at all. Bang! I was thrust hard by my touch and hit the wall, so painful that my bones almost broke up. Yingjie shouted from behind, "Yingjie, run away. This goods are too distorted, it's hard." The live broadcast screen also exploded. Some people shouted, "Yingjie, don't give it away," and some people complained, "The system is so cold that it's a scam." But where can I run? This guy treated me as a chess piece and death as an entertainment, and I couldn't swallow this breath. I gritted my teeth and got up, wiped off the blood from the corner of my mouth, and roared, "Even if I die, I have to pull you on my back." I said, regardless of whether I was rushing over the land, my superpower and flame control were used together, and he fought with his black contact, and each time it shocked the basement, the flames and black air intertwined, and the scene exploded. The Game Master's face finally changed, and I didn't expect that I could be so hard. He growled, and the black air suddenly condensed into a giant sword, slashing at me, and making a sound. I knew I couldn't hide, so I simply didn't hide, so I took the blow, and at the same time the flame turned into a fire spear and stabbed him hard in the chest. Bang! The giant sword hit my shoulder, and the pain made my eyes dark, but my fire spear also pierced his black robe, making him hum. The two of them retreated at the same time. I was half kneeling on the ground, panting like a dog, full of injuries, and it was not easy for the Game Master to go through. My black robe was as torn as a rag, and my face was as white as a ghost. "Yingjie, You guy is really interesting. He gasped, with a hint of reluctance in his voice, but the game is mine, I say it's over. He raised his hand, as if he was about to start the last blow, and the black air was gathering wildly, and his air was even more terrifying than it was. My heart sank, knowing that this was really gone, but my mouth was still hard, and... I don't agree. Come again. Just as I was about to fight for the last breath, a mechanical sound suddenly ejaculated in my brain, ding. It was detected that the host's health is less than 1%, the emergency protection mechanism is activated, and the temporary ability is blessed, invincible status, last for 30 seconds. Chicken, hold it. Is there any evil state? My eyes lit up, and I felt a warm current flowing from my whole body. The wound was instantly reunited, and the strength was even stronger than before. I sneered, stood up, and rushed towards the game master. 30 seconds, I'll beat you 10 times. The game master was stunned. He certainly didn't expect that I would have such a trick, but he could no longer react. With my speeding movement and super strength, I fisted to the flesh, and the flames rushed out. I beat him up in 30 seconds and found that most of the black air was burned by me. With the last punch, I hit him directly in the chest and shouted, "The game is over, I am the master." Bang! The game master was smashed by me and hit the equipment hard, and the entire basement was shaken. He lay on the ground, gasping heavily, and a frightened look finally showed in his eyes. How could you be? I ignored him, walked up to him and said coldly, "Why do you close this broken system? Also, what will the dark circle be? If I don't say it, I will burn you." He smiled reluctantly and continued to say, "Close? Impossible. The system was created by me, but it has long been out of control. The dark circle will be just my chess piece. The real secret you can never dig." After speaking, he suddenly coughed up a mouthful of black blood, and his body began to become virtual, as if it was about to disappear at any time. Candle, run away? I felt nervous, but before I could even move, he turned into a group of dark air and scattered, leaving a faint voice, "The game is not over yet, Yingjie, we will see you again." The basement fell into silence, and I stood there, my fists still tightly, and my heart was a little bit ignorant. Is this guy dead? Also, what does the system out of control mean? Just as Usi was thinking, the mechanical sound of the brain started to sound, ding. The Death Circle rankings were updated, the host Yingjie challenged the game to dominate successfully, and the current ranking, number 1. Death method, no, complaints and evaluation, Kai Chicken reverses, barely passes. Congratulations on becoming a traditional existence, the system will enter the dormant mode, Kai Chicken. First place? Talent level? I was stunned. Then I opened my phone and saw that the forum post was indeed updated. My name was at the top of the list. The comment area below was full of shocking sounds such as "the trunk," "the bride is awesome," "the first place is true to the name," and "the game master was beaten up." Yingjie smiled so hard that her eyes were all out. The mobile live broadcast was still not concerned, and she shouted in her mouth, "Ha ha ha, Yingjie, you are such a legend. The whole network worships you." I curled my lips, feeling very happy, but I was still calm on the surface. I mean, this broken system should have been trampled on by me for a long time. But I knew in my heart that the master of this game was not dead, the system was just dormant, and the secret was not dug out. But now, I can always take a breath. Yingjie, what should I do next? How to deal with this basement? Yingjie rushed over, her eyes dripping, and she was still thinking about continuing the live broadcast. I sneered and tightened my fists. What should I do? It's burning. I want to see what secrets can be hidden in this broken place. As I said, I flipped my palm and the flames ignited, directly igniting the surrounding equipment, and the flames made the basement bright as white. I pulled Yingjie away, and the flames shone through the sky behind me, and an unprecedented aspiration ignited in my heart. No matter what the game master is hiding, no matter what secrets there are behind the system, I am the number 1 in the Death Circle. This university city, from today, is my floorboard. There will be another challenge in the future. I will beat you up and make a bunch of them. I will make a fuss. The fire in the basement shone through the sky, the equipment and iron walls were crackling, and the smoke rolled, as if the entire dark circle was turned into ashes in this fire. I pulled Yingjie and quickly walked out of the passage and returned to the ground. The night wind blew over, bringing a sense of turmoil, which could not dispel the heated blood burning to the explosion in my heart. The game master was beaten up by me and disappeared. Although he still spoke ruthlessly and said, "The game is not over," I knew that I won this battle. On the Death Circle rankings, I am already the number 1. I am said to be a level of existence. This university city will be my ground plate from now on. Yingjie, have you really burned this broken place? This operation is so good. Yingjie gasped, holding her phone in her hand. The live broadcast screen was probably already filled with shock and excitement on her face, and she didn't forget to complain in her mouth, "But what environmental problems did you get when you get such a fire? What should the firefighter do?" Ha ha ha. I rolled my eyes and said unhappily, "It's better to have a problem than keeping this ghost place. Whether it's a dark circle or a game master, if you dare to come back, I'll still be burned. Firefighters? Let them find the game master to seek compensation." As I said, I patted the dust on my hands, and felt that my whole body was much more relaxed, as if the stone that had been pressed for several days was finally moved. Yingjie smiled and the mobile phone screen came to me. The comment area on the forum's top posts was already blown up. The screen was full of praises such as English brides, travel masters, and game masters were all beaten up. Many people also browsed the screen of "The chickens are reversed, and they are moved to cry." She pointed to the screen and smiled happily. "Did you see it? You are an idol on the internet now. Even my live broadcast is almost ruined. But seriously, you just looked like the boss, it was really pretty. Of course, I still can't hide the stupid dark history you died before, ha ha ha. You are paralyzed by the black history." I glared at me and tried to snatch her cell phone. Yingjie hid away, and shouted in her mouth, "Don't sniff, everyone is watching. The number of your chicken is probably not washed away. I think I'm dead." I was speechless, so I could only smile bitterly, and I didn't feel really angry. After all, without those stupid deaths, how could I get these abilities against the sky? How can we stand to this point today? As he was speaking, the familiar phone CC mechanical sound suddenly appeared in his brain, ding. The final announcement of the Death Circle system, the host Yingjie completed the final challenge and defeated the Game Master. The current ranking, number 1, a level of existence. The official complained that the Easter eggs were opened. Okay, the chicken turned around and became a great god, and withdrew. The system is about to close forever, and there will be no time in the future. I'm thanking you. The sound was still so worthy of beating, but the last sentence was filled with an inexplicable sensation, as if he really planned to withdraw. Permanently closed? I was shocked. Then I lowered my head and felt my body. I realized that the feeling of adjusting superpowers at any time was still there, but the system sounded in my brain. The forum on my phone was also stopped at the last update. The title he suddenly wrote, "The Death Circle system ends, the heroes are the gods," and the entire internet is verified. The comment area below is still popular. Some people lament that the game is over, some people talk about the chickens finally become a great god, and many people also tagged me and asked me what I plan next. Yingjie, is the system really turned off? Then what do you do with such abilities? Can you still use it? Yingjie rushed over, her eyes full of curiosity. Her mobile phone had turned off the live broadcast, so she finally didn't use me again. I tried to raise my hand, and with a thought, a small group of flames appeared in the palm of my palm, and the jumping flames made the night light brighter. I grinned and said, "It's possible, it's probably the last benefit before the system is closed." However, the sound of the broken voice is not silenced in my brain, but it's much quieter. Yingjie was a little bit of it, rarely complaining, and there was a flash of emotion in her eyes. "Seriously, Yingjie, you died so hard that I thought you had lost one day. As a result, you turned out to be the broken system and beat the game master to the point where he couldn't find Bei. Awesome, really awesome. I curled my lips, and my mouth was still hard. I mean, I'm so tough, I can't die. But I felt a little excited. Yingjie was usually very ruthless, but when I was in the key, I always accompanied me, helped me check the information, and let me go. Even in the basement, she didn't really run away, and insisted on following me to the end. This kind of friend is worth it. Let's go back. After burning this broken place, we should take a breath. I patted her on the shoulder and turned toward the university city. The fire in the old industrial area was still burning, as if it was a sentence for this deserted death adventure. The next day, the atmosphere in the campus was as hot as a festival. People pointed at me wherever I went. Someone gave me a thumbs up, and some laughed and shouted, "Great chicken god." The popularity on the forum did not drop. The top post was topped and thousands of replies were discussed on the entire network. How did I turn from an ordinary college student to a translator? There were even a few people who called the survivor of the death circle who came out and posted a message for ending up the system saying that they didn't have to be forced to send their heads anymore. I looked at these posts and felt a little confused. It turns out that besides me, many people have been rolled into this broken system. The names on the rankings are all living people behind them. Some of them die so many times like Shadow, and probably suffered a lot of torture. Now that the system is closed, they can always return to normal life, and I have taken revenge on them. While I was brushing my phone, a familiar voice suddenly came from the scene, carrying a few unwilling and embarrassing words. Ing, can you talk about 2 sentences? I looked up and saw Yingjie standing far away with his head down, not wearing the uniform of a man in black, and changed back to his normal sports uniform, with a blue nose on his face. It seemed that he had not passed the beatings of a few days ago. Brother Yingjie, what's wrong? Still want to find fault? I sneered, and my palm flipped, and the little flame jumped at my fingertips, which scared him to take a step back and hold his hands. Don't be fine. Yingjie, brother, I'm really not here to find trouble. Yingjie's face turned pale, his voice full of indifference. I just want to apologize to you. I was wrong before, always picking you, and joining that dark circle, almost hurting you. I'm wrong, really wrong. You don't remember the villain, please give me this time. I was stunned, and I didn't expect this goods to pull down my face and apologize. Looking at his demeanor, the aura in his heart disappeared. After all, the system was shut down and the darkness was burned by me. I guess this guy would never be able to make any trouble again. I snorted coldly, the flames in my hand went out, and I curled my lips and said, "Okay, I apologize, I'll take it. But remember, let me see what kind of messy organization you are with, and your mother won't even recognize you." I dare not. I dare not. Yingjie was busy, as if he was afraid that I would regret it, so he turned around and ran away. His back was as if he was afraid that I would regret it. When classmates around Zhou Yuan saw this, they all burst into laughter. Someone shouted, "Yingjie, why aren't you crazy? Didn't you be a school overlord before?" Ha ha ha. Yingjie's face was red and he didn't dare to go back, and he ran fast. Yingjie didn't know when she came out and leaned against me, making her stomach hurt. Ha ha ha, Yingjie, look at Yingjie's attitude, I guess she doesn't dare to provoke you anymore. He used to bully you, who could have thought of today? This face is absolutely blowing. I curled my lips and felt very happy without saying anything. Yingjie's goods, from the school bully at the beginning, to the fact that I was beaten up to the teeth after I joined the Dark Circle, and now I also take the initiative to apologize, which is simply a real joke. But I don't plan to compare with him anymore. After all, I'm now a Sang-level existence, which is even worse than this little guy, and it's a drop in price. Yingjie, let's go, the canteen asked you to eat fried pork. What I promised you before, will be cleared today. I patted her shoulder and walked towards the canteen. Yingjie followed her and kept talking. The great god, please invite you, you must eat it. But seriously, the system is off. What are you planning to do in the future? Will you die? Damn it. I glared at her with a bad look. I finally got rid of this broken system. Of course, I will live well next. My ability is still there, so I have to think about how to use it to make some serious business, such as, to open a martial arts museum, teach people how to defend themselves, and make some extra money. How about it? Yingjie was stunned, and then she smiled so hard that her eyes almost came out. Ha ha ha, martial arts museum? Who dares to learn the dark history of your chicken? But seriously, if you really open it, I will be the first to register. I will learn your flame control, and I don't have to buy a boiler if I roast it. I rolled my eyes, took it seriously, and started to count. The system is off. Although the game master is not dead, he probably won't dare to come and find trouble again in a short period of time. My ability, superpower, super speeding movement, flame control, toxin immunity, and sometimes time and space are suspended, and any one of them is a heaven-defying existence. Instead of hiding it, it is better to use it to scatter intentional things, help others, and gain a lot of fame, which is worse than fighting people all day long. There were a lot of people in the cafeteria, and Yingjie and I sat down with our plates, ate and chatted. The atmosphere was as relaxed as if nothing had happened. When my classmates were studying around, I glanced at me for a few times. Someone even plucked up the courage to talk to me and asked me how I had mastered such skills. There were even a few girls who asked me for WeChat on their faces, which made me feel a little embarrassed. Yingjie, have you become a male god in the campus? How about it? Do you want me to choose a few, set up a palace or something? Yingjie bit her chopsticks and smiled happily. Mingming wanted to see me laugh. Boy, I'm just a little bit. I said with no pleasure, but I felt a little hungry. After all, who can't be unhappy in this contrast from an ordinary college student who was bullied by the sect to a master of the genre that everyone in the school knows? But I still know that no matter how powerful I am, I still have to live my life and will be longer in the future. After eating, Yingjie and I slipped to the campus lake. The sunset was on the water, with golden scents blowing over, bringing a warmth of early summer. I leaned against the column and looked at the teaching building and the exercise venue away, and suddenly I felt an unreal feeling. A few months ago, I was still an ordinary person who was nothing. Every day I thought about why I didn't go through the law and how to avoid Yingjie's trouble. As a result, a death cycle turned my life upside down. Yingjie, thank you. I suddenly opened my mouth, my voice lowered a few points, carrying a few serious words. Along the way, you helped me a lot. Although I was very generous, I had no choice but to say it. If I hadn't been to this matter in the system, I would have lost it. Yingjie was stunned, then curled her lips and said indifferently, "What are you thankful? I'm just a hot picture." But seriously, Yingjie, you can still rely on yourself to get to this day. After so many deaths, everyone will be destroyed. You just came over and turned the broken system off. I admire you very much. I smiled and didn't say anything, my heart was so warm. Under the sunset, the lake was sparkling, and Yingjie and I were standing there. Who didn't open their mouths anymore, as if they were taking the final say in this place. A few days later, I officially decided to leave the campus and start a new life. The system is turned off, the dark circle is burned, and the threat of the game master has disappeared at a loss. I can always take a breath and plan for the future. Before leaving, I posted the last post on the forum and said simply, "The circle of death has ended. Thank you for your support along the way. A new life has begun." The following replies have exceeded 1,000 in an instant, all of which are blessings and comments. Some people shouted, "Don't leave, God of vegetables, don't leave," and some people said, "I'll die again when you come back," which made me laugh and cry. Since the apology, Yingjie has been in a deep state of depression. When I saw me like a ghost, I walked away from the road. There was a Yingjie's dog trail in the campus. I heard that he really changed his temperament and started reading books in real life. I guess he was really scared by me. Yingjie took me to the school gate, holding a bottle of milk tea in her hand, smiling as usual. "Yingjie, don't forget to ask me for a meal when you leave. You are such a great master, you have made a lot of money, and remember that I am the #1 fan." Don't worry, I can't forget you. I took the milk tea with a smile and patted her on the shoulder. I'll come back to see you when I have time. Remember not to broadcast me live again, otherwise you will burn your hair. You big head ghost. Yingjie rolled her eyes. Her mouth was hard, but there was a little redness in her eyes, and her voice fell down. It's smooth all the way, Yingjie, don't be dying. I clicked my head and turned around and walked out of the school gate. The sunset raised my shadow. The noise in the campus was gone, and my heart was very calm. The days of death are absurd and shocking, like a dream that never wakes up, but now, when I wake up, I should welcome a new life. I don't know what's going on in the future, but with this ability in hand, I can face it with a smile no matter what I encounter. After all, I am a traditional existence killed from the circle of death. No matter how big or unreasonable the world is, it cannot hold me back.